Good evening, good evening, good evening. I think I fixed it. I'm back in the room and I'm hoping that you can all hear me. Boys, just give me a quick thumbs up if you can hear me. Okay, cool. That's 1 out of 3 sorted. Ladies, gentlemen, welcome to our Throwback Thursday Christmas special. I'm Marcus Lane and I am fortunate enough to look after the boys at Lovney Male Voice Choir. And tonight we've got something really special for you lined up. We've already got 40 odd people watching on Facebook, which is unheard of, especially for a male voice choir. So I think we're onto a good thing. It could be a successful evening, boys. But I think first and foremost, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and very quickly find some other very important people we need in this evening. So I've just found one of them, which is great. Here's Mr. Stephen Lowry from Mousel Male Voice Choir. And if I'm quick enough, I might even be able to get in before I have to take a breath. The lovely Russell Pascoe from City of Truro Male Choir. Gentlemen, good evening. Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
How are you both?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Yeah, lovely.
Yeah, everything's great in mid Cornwall here.
That's so lovely. I'm just going to do some very brief introductions, I think, gents, first and foremost. So we can let the bods at home, people that are watching that don't know who we are, kind of find out who we are. I'm going to jump down to Russell. Do you want to give us a quick introduction? Who you are, what you do, who you look after?
Yeah, I'm Russell Pascoe, mainly a conductor and composer. I usually put down composer first. Write all different stuff. I've had the lads in Truro for the last 5 years, and we've been on quite a journey in those 5 years, moving in some way away from a lot of the traditional male voice choir repertoire, into some weird and wonderful places. And I have to say that the lockdown and using Zoom has really, I think, benefited us in a way. I mean, which is a most peculiar thing to say, but it's forced us. We were always a very strong community as a choir, but it's forced us onto line and into new directions. So we're now singing with soundtracks online, and we're making videos. And just to say that one of the ways that this came about tonight was because we did one of the daftest videos which has ever been made of The Lion Sleeps Tonight, where the chap's all dressed up as Tarzan. You can find it on YouTube. They're so brave to strip off in the middle of Boscawen Park in Truro and get filmed singing away. It was utterly bizarre.
Normally
And
you have to pay good money for that.
Later, Feast very kindly gave us some money towards the making of that video. And as part of it, we said we would like to just get in touch with other people, choirs that have managed to keep going. And it's most peculiar. Only Lovney and Mousel and City of Truro have kept going through this period. So we did a kind of interview, the three of us, talking about our solutions and how we've done things. And then Marcus came up with this idea of all of us getting together. And I think it's something that we could build on if this carries on. That's all I have to say.
I think you're absolutely right. Thanks for sharing, Russell. Stephen, Mr. Larry, do you want to let us know who you are, what you do, and where you? I feel like Cilla Black.
Oh yeah,
What's your name and where do you come from?
Yeah, just a different hairstyle. That's all.
Marginally.
Yeah, so I'm Steve Laurie, as you said, and I conduct the guys at Mousel Choir. It's my privilege to stand in front of them week by week, and I've been doing that with them for 17 years. And for the 24 years before that, I sang with Newlyn Choir, so I've been involved with male voice since I was 17. So I've thoroughly enjoyed all of it, really. I enjoyed the singing side of it, and I've enjoyed even more conducting and working with people. And I'm sure the others would say the same, but I've got a lovely crowd of gentlemen to work with, and we have a lovely time. So it's been a bit of a strange year. Rather than doing 30 concerts each year, I think we did one at the beginning of the year, and that was the end of it. But we have done an online one, and we tried various ways of keeping in touch. But Zoom has been as you say, a godsend in the sense that we can carry on learning music and moving forward positively, and look forward to when we can get back together physically and with our audiences again.
Couldn't agree more, actually. You know, what you touched on there, which is I think really important, is that we are moving on, and we are doing it positively. There's a lot of negativity kind of around taking everything online, but it's a bit of a needs must for a lot of us. And I know, you know, it's not our preferred method of communication or teaching or music making, but making the best of a bad situation, I think. Gentlemen, thanks for jumping in. Thanks for having a chat. We're going to hear a little bit more from you both later, all being well, providing the technology doesn't fail me. But what we are going to do now is we're going to go straight in to our first piece, which is coming tonight from Mousel. And it's one of their pieces. I'm not going to chat on any more. Hopefully, we'll be able to go straight into their piece of music. I guess it's probably worth me turning my microphone back up ahead of talking tonight. Gonna have some stern critics out there this evening, I am sure. So that was Mousel, male voice, choir under the direction of Stephen Laurie, singing Bethel Shepherd. So I think what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and get us all to have a bit of a wave. So hopefully everyone has now kind of seen how many bods we've got in this evening. Gents, give us a quick wave. Give us a quick wave. I'm pretty sure there's someone out there that you know. I'm just 3 screens to scroll through almost. So for those that are watching from home, we've got over 60 male voice choristers joining us this evening from City of Truro Male Choir and Mousehole Male Voice Choir and Lovney Male Voice Choir. Really, really glad to see some bods in. Sticking with Mousehole for a little while, I'm going to try and come to Mr. John Pender. There, look at that, as if by magic. I mean, the technology nowadays is insane. John, good evening, my friend.
Hello, Marcus. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'll be fine after I finish saying my few brief words. I shall feel a lot better, and the glass of wine I have hidden behind the screen will come in very handy.
See, I failed miserably on the provisions front, and I haven't brought anything with me other than a half-empty cold cup of tea. So I'm going to save myself till after. So John, the current chair of Mousehole Male Voice Choir, do you want to tell us, share a few thoughts and words on your experiences with Mousehole?
Yes, thank you. Not only am I the chairman, but I suppose you could also call me a long-standing member. Although I have to say I don't even come close to one of our members, the oldest one, Derek Harvey, who's just celebrated his 70th anniversary since he joined. So I've still got a fair way to go for that. I was thinking really about my childhood in Mousehole and the Christmases there. They always included going to my grandmother's. She would then sit up at the piano and strike up the piano for us to sing the local carols. And I'm sure that's where I learned the words and the different parts long before I ever saw any of them written down. I was thinking, in fact, that I think it's only this year I've actually seen the music for Hark the Herald sung to the Newlyn tune. And I'm sure actually the Grandma's version had an awful lot more hallelujahs in it. I've been rereading this book that some of you know, I expect, the Hark the Glad Sound of Cornish Carols, which it's really interesting to learn about all the different pieces which are sung throughout Cornwall. Many of them don't seem to be known outside their own sort of local area, but it's part of our traditions. It's very important that we keep them alive and keep singing them. And I'm really grateful to Marcus to get tonight's little do on, because I hope that will keep our interest and our joy in singing alive. And we all hope for a happier new year. Merry Christmas to everybody.
John, thank you so much. And I just want to touch on what you said about the carol book, the Hark the Glad Sound. I've been in the county for almost 30 years now, and I'm still experiencing and discovering new carols which aren't actually new. They've been around for forever, but I'm only just experiencing them now. And particularly at Lovney, we really enjoy some of the Thomas Merritts, and you're absolutely right in that actually there are pieces of music that probably haven't left that 20 or 30 mile radius. And it'd be really interesting to try and collate some of those pieces, actually, because I know for a fact that, you know, you boys way down west are doing stuff that we've probably never heard of up in Lovney. So who knows? This could be the start of something beautiful in terms of collating and collaborating on Cornish traditional carols. What do you think, John?
Oh, I love that. You know, I stood up at an AGM a few years ago and said to Mousehole, look, we really do need to make a CD of the carols, if only just to sort of keep them on record. And we've hardly scratched the surface yet. There'll be another CD out and hopefully next Christmas, and that will have some more on it. But yeah, there's an enormous repertoire. I think it's a fantastic idea, and who knows, maybe another year we'll get a chance to do that, all of us.
Fingers crossed. John, thanks so much for your time this evening, buddy. Always a pleasure. So that was John from Mousehole talking about all things Cornish carol related, which is really exciting. Guys, just for those that are in the Zoom, we've got a fair few people watching from literally all over the place. I think the furthest I've seen in the comments thread is someone tuning in from the States. who's got a dad in the choir. Now, I'm just going to quickly pop onto gallery view. Anyone got any children in the States? Give me a wave if you have. Viv, Ray, Bob. I was kind of hoping that it would be just like one hand that went up and waved, which would be really easy to narrow it down. So if you are tuning in from the States and you're watching this, let me know which one is your dad. I don't want to assume. It's got me into terrible trouble before, and I shan't be doing it again anytime soon. So there you go. There you go. So going to stick with Basil. Great piece. I've not heard it actually until Stephen sent that through tonight. So I'm just going to share this with you. It's called Lo He Comes. what? That was stunning. That was absolutely. I just fell in love with that the first time I heard it earlier this afternoon, and we are just going to pop now to the final representative from Mousehole Male Voice Choir, which is their Assistant Director of Music, Dave Williams. Hello, mate. All right?
Yeah, evening, Marcus.
How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. Yeah.
Good. It must be an absolute privilege and pleasure to sing with the boys from Mousehole.
It's an amazing opportunity that I was given shortly after joining them about 10 years ago. And Steve is a very proactive musical director and believes in using his deputy. So I get to help in practice as well as in concerts. And it almost always inevitably ends up with the hairs on the back of my neck standing on end. It's such a pleasure and privilege to have the opportunity. You're right.
So I guess it's. I mean, we were very similar to Mousehole, and I know lots of or a number of male voice choirs in the county have deputy or assistant directors of music. What would you say are some of the challenges that you face as a deputy director?
I'm not sure that there's that many. I think as a deputy, you're in an extremely lucky position because the MD does all the hard work of finding the music and choosing what the choir should sing and most of the donkey work. You get the opportunity in practices to try and get the lads to sing what's written on the page, and then in concerts, the attention the lads give you and the result that the audience hear. It's just lovely, it really is.
And have you done anything in terms of kind of conducting previous to becoming deputy at Mousehole?
Yeah, quite some time ago, Steve had a youth choir called Govenic Choir, and for a while I was a deputy at that as well, which was a good 20-30 years ago, I think, Steve. Yeah. But I mean, other than that, not really any conducting experience other than that and Mousehole. I did music A level at school under Russell Jury, and you watch and you pick things up.
Absolutely. It wasn't until I went back to university for the second time that I actually kind of took up any formal tuition in conducting, and I think it's a really apt opportunity to say, actually, for those people that might be watching thinking, I wonder what it's like to be a conductor. I think first and foremost, you don't need any formal training. I think it's really important to kind of to express that. And I think and I don't know what you think, Dave, but I think what's most important is that you've got that kind of like inbuilt sense of musicality, that kind of just not even like doing the four square or that formal kind of patterning that we're so used to seeing on concert stages. But I think if you are able to kind of physicalize what you are trying to achieve, I think that's pretty much all you need, and a passion for music, of course. Where did your passion for music start?
I ever since I was a boy, I can't remember life without it much. When we moved back to Cornwall, I joined the church choir over at St Peter's, and I think I must have been about 8 then. And when I was 10, the organist started giving me piano lessons. So ever since a very young age, I've always been involved in music, and I've always been involved in choirs. So it's just always something that's been in the background. I think my grandmother used to play the piano. My mother started to learn to play the piano, so it's always been there. Yeah.
That's amazing. Dave, thanks for joining me, mate. We're actually going to now see one of your performances, which I'm very excited to be sharing. So that's Dave Williams from Mousehole Male Voice Choir, Deputy Director of Music there. And this is him conducting one of my favourite male voice choir Christmas pieces, Star of Bethlehem.
O eastern sages rise, as a signal in the skies, brighter than the of Bethlehem. David trod on Jesse's stem, is the Star of Bethlehem.
And there we have it. Dave Williams, Deputy Director of Music, Mousehole Male Voice Choir, conducting Star of Bethlehem. I know I was just looking around the screen at some of the lads, and there was plenty of boys singing along there. And you can always tell how much emphasis they're putting into it, because they're like, you can see when they get to those full rich parts that everyone loves in practice, and they're just absolutely going for it. So if you are just tuning in, and I know lots of you have just jumped on, you're joining me, Marcus Allain, and some of the boys from Mousehole, from Lovney, and from City of Truro Male Voice Choirs here in Cornwall. It's great to have you joining us tonight. And this is really an attempt to spread a little Christmas joy during a pretty tough and challenging time for lots of us in and outside of the county. Music is such an important part of all our lives, everyone that's in on this Zoom this evening, and to be able to kind of give something back to the community and the people that continue to support us throughout lockdown. This is just for you as a bit of a thank you, and hopefully it might lift your spirits this evening. And we've just heard from Mousehole, so if you missed our section on Mousehole Male Voice Choir, you can always rewind, jump back to the beginning, and you can catch us up in a little while. But for now, we are going to go over to Truro Male Voice Choir, and we have got the very, very charismatic Des Masters. Des, good evening.
Good evening.
How are
I
you?
didn't think I'd be on this early. I am
There you are. I like to keep everybody on their toes.
Pardon?
I like to keep everybody on their toes.
Yeah.
So, Des, just tell us a little bit about your story. You belong to Truro, City of Truro Male Choir. Why don't you share a few thoughts and words?
Yeah, I've been in the choir about 20 years now. No, yeah, about 20 years, I suppose. I didn't have a chance to join before because I was traveling around working all the time. I used to sing in a church choir when I was a boy, but I thought I was coming on here to read a few lines of poetry. And I feel like I did when I got in front of a class of 18-year-old trainees for GEC. I used to work for GEC Telecoms, and I had to lecture them. I'd had no training, but I got through it. Anyhow, I've been asked to read some poetry. I don't know much Christmas poetry, and I've got a hodgepodge of 3 poems, actually. The first one I'm going to venture is, it was Christmas in the workhouse, and the cold and bare walls are bright with garlands of green and holly, and the place was a pleasant sight. In a long and hungry line, the paupers sit in the table, for this was the hour they dine. Now, I'm not going any more on that poem because it's so sad. And but that's the first one I thought of. Then I thought of a second one, A Visit from St. Nicholas. 'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in the hope that St. Nicholas would be there. Now that poem is too long to read in its entirety here. I'll come back to the last verse of that later on. But now I'm going to read a poem. I think it's an American poem by somebody called Joe Guys. I don't know if it's a man or woman or what. The second line of the second verse is icy windows filigree. Now, I didn't know what filigree was, but I've looked it up, and it's like icy patterns on windows, which I used to know when I was a boy. So this is a poem Christmas long ago. Frosty days and ice still nights, fir trees trimmed with tiny lights, sounds of sleigh bells in the snow. That was Christmas long ago. Tykes on sleighs and shouts of glee, icy windows filigree, sugar plums and candle glow, part of Christmas long ago. Footsteps stealthily in the stair, sweet voiced carols in the air, stockings hanging in a row, tell of Christmas long ago. Starry nights so still and blue, good friends calling out to you. Life, in fact, was always slow, for dreams of Christmas long ago. Now, as I say, I think that is an American poem. But I'm going back to St. Nicholas, because it's a happy poem. It's got a wonderful ending. And after St. Nicholas had got down the chimney and filled all the stockings, he went back up again. And he must have made some sort of commotion because somebody actually got out of bed and saw him leave. And this is what they heard and saw. He sprang to his sleigh, to his team gave a whistle, and away they flew like the down of a thistle. But I heard him explain as he drove out of sight. Happy Christmas to all, and a jolly good night.
Oh, Des, that was fantastic.
And that's the first time I've recited any sort of poems or anything in public, so I don't think I did a bad job.
Is that the first time? Oh, well, there you are. First time. Premiere.
I hope I didn't make a fool of myself.
Absolutely not, sir. That's the Cornish premiere. You, ladies and gentlemen, you saw it and heard it here first. Okay?
Yeah.
All rights reserved.
I'm open for bookings.
Yep. I'll be your agent, Des, and I'll take 15%. 15% top slice.
That's
Jobs
all
are
right,
good.
as long as I get a lot.
Des, thank you so much for sharing that. That was an absolute pleasure and an absolute joy. And it just goes to show, doesn't it, that actually there is a lot more behind each and every one of our choristers. They all have so much more to give other than just the song. And it's really nice, actually. Thank you for sharing that. And we're going to get a little bit more prose a little bit later on. But for now, we're going to go straight into the first offering from Truro, City of Truro Male Choir. And it's a fantastic arrangement, actually, by Russell Pascoe. And it's We Three Kings.
We three kings, we three kings, we three kings of Orient are, bearing gifts we traverse afar, field and fountain, moor and mountain, following yonder star. Oh, star of wonder, star of light, star with royal beauty bright, westward leading, still proceeding, guide us to thy perfect light. Born a king of Bethlehem flame, gold thy bring to crown him again, king forever, ceasing never over us all to reign. Oh, star of wonder, star of night, star with royal beauty bright, westward leading, still proceeding, guide us to thy perfect light. Frankincense to offer have I, incense owes the deity nigh, prayer and praising voices raising, worshipping God on high. We three kings, we three kings, three kings. Myrrh is mine, its bitter perfume breathes a life of gathering gloom, sorrowing, sighing, bleeding, dying, sealed in a stone cold, sealed in a stone cold, sealed in a stone cold tomb. We three kings, we three sacrifice, and sings Alleluia, 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 the earth revives. Oh, star of wonder, star of night, star with royal beauty bright, westward leading, still proceeding, guide us to thy perfect light. Guide us to thy perfect light. Guide us to thy perfect light.
Wow, what a treat! What a treat! It's always nice to hear new or different arrangements of the norm, and that was arranged by current Director of Music, City of Truro Male Choir, Russell Pascoe, and hopefully we might pop back to Russell and try and find out what some of the inspiration was behind that arrangement. But before that, I'd like to just very, very quickly, and I know this isn't on the schedule, but we've got a very special lady in with us this evening, one of two, I believe. Maureen. Sorry to put you on the spot.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, Maureen. Tell us a little bit about your journey with City of Truro Male Choir.
Well, I actually am married to one of the members, but I've got sometimes about 60 other boyfriends in the choir, because they all are very, very friendly, and they're a lovely group of men. Totally enjoy listening to them. Many years ago, I was asked if I could do some of the background admin, the paperwork, some of the programs and things, which I've loved doing all through the years. And for my efforts, I very, very kindly made me a vice president of the choir. So I feel it's a very honoured position, which is why I'm with you tonight. The amazing thing about what you've just heard, of course, is that they all sang that individually in their homes, and it was compiled and put together to create an online version of Three Things. And I think that's the most amazing thing I've heard for many years. So many congratulations to them.
I'm sure they are incredibly grateful for that praise, and high praise indeed. And it really is incredibly challenging, not just for the people that have to put that content together and line up all those individual voices and videos and audio tracks, but also as a chorister of some years. And I'm not going to beat around the bush. We've got some mature boys in tonight, and that's all right, but they're all managing to kind of get to grips with the technology, and it's really daunting actually, whether you're 87 or whether you're 17, to kind of put yourself in that position where you've got to hold something up and take a video or an audio recording of yourself. God, I know I've been there before, and it's like take 27, because it's always. But I mean, it's so lovely to have you in with us tonight, Maureen. Thank you for your wonderful words, and here's to many more opportunities of some virtual meeting, I hope. It's been really lovely. Thank you. So that's Maureen, Vice President of City Truro Male Choir. Lovely to have you in tonight. Which takes us to, I think I'm going to talk first, actually, to one of the official... well, I've got to find him first. Back to the agenda. Where is Will? If you're there, just keep waving until I find you. Got ya. So, yeah, talking about 87 and 17, you don't quite look 87, mate.
Thank you very much. I'm almost 17, but...
Oh, wow. Well, this is...
23.
23. I wouldn't believe that either, to be fair. It's like trying to convince everyone I'm 21. Will, obviously one of the younger members of City of Truro Male Choir. How is it?
Oh wow. I tell you what, it's one of the most warm and accepting groups of men you could ever be around. Russell had a bit of a challenge to grab any ex-students he could to come into the choir and bring some youth and energy into. I mean, they're energetic enough, but some more energy. And everyone else has just accepted us with open arms, and they're extremely encouraging and nicest blokes you'll ever meet.
That's really, really lovely to hear. What really interests me, as you and I think are kindred spirits, because I think at the risk of sounding a little bit crass, I think I might be one of the youngest MDs of a male voice choir in Cornwall. Now, please, boys, jump in. Correct me if I'm wrong. There's 60 of you in, and I'm sure one of you, will jump in. I'm not going to ask for ages, but I think I might be there. What I'm really interested in, Will, is hearing about your ideas or your perceptions of why there might not be more younger people in male voice choirs, and what might we do to try and the royal we in terms of kind of encouraging more younger singers in the next generation of male voice choristers.
I don't think you can do anything. I think I think it's more about having stable contracts at work, which you can fit choir into. Unfortunately, that's the whole thing. I've had to miss a few because I've had to grab work while I can. But university and work takes up, unfortunately, a lot of time, and people leave to go elsewhere to find jobs. So Cornwall's a bit of a, it's one of those places that if you stay and you can fit a male voice choir, then perfect. But it's a bit hard.
Absolutely here, and I feel very fortunate that I've been able to make a full-time career as a musician and stay in the county that I absolutely adore. So kind of getting you in was one thing, but what made you stay in the male voice choir world?
Well, Pasco said if I left, he'd kill me. So...
That'd do it. That'll do it. Now, just for those watching, I'm pretty sure that the jest. Please don't get on the phone. We're not governed by Ofcom, so don't waste your time. There really is not much point. I'm just very quickly trying to find, where is he? Where's he gone? Where's Mr. Pasco? There you are.
I should have said that.
Right, this is where it gets really interesting, boys. Russell. Anything to add?
No, I think what Will said is really, it's the truth. So many people. I mean, I taught for 35 years, and I always had male voice choirs at my school, and on Facebook we have our own group called the Cousin Jacks. But the thing is, as Will says, most people seem to go up country. And a lot of them don't come back until they're of a certain age. And I think that's why a lot of chaps actually join choirs when they retire, because they've come back to Cornwall and they want, to keep the singing going that they'd started when they were at school. I'm just hoping I live long enough and still have the choir for them to come back and join the plastic choir. But Will, very well said. You won't get punished for that one tonight. Well done.
Thank you.
Russell, Will, thank you both for jumping in and having a bit of a chat with me tonight. That takes us very nicely actually into our next piece from Truro. And now Truro, as Russell said earlier, he likes to do things a little bit differently. He likes to do things slightly off the wall. And just looking round at some of the boys from Truro, they all like to kind of dress up for the occasion as well, which is quite nice. I'm loving that. So this is a little ditty about Rudolph.
We're a lonely pack of reindeer, looking for Santa's sleigh. We're lost in a great big snowdrift, we just can't find our way. We've Rudolph is his name, so if you think you see him, just grab him by his reins. Rudolph, where are you? We need you right away. Rudolph, where are you? Where have you been all day? You think you're so important, you treat us all like slaves. Where are you when needed? We need you right away. We know you're Santa's favourite, he tells us all the while. But if he knew your habits, he'd really run a mile. You're not so flipping perfect as Santa likes to think. We know you got your red nose by swigging lots of drink. Rudolph, where are you? We need you right away. Rudolph, where are you? Where have you been all day? You think you're so important, you treat us all like slaves. Where are you when needed? We need you right away. To join in. And while we're on the subject, as reindeer often are, we thought we'd better tell you that Santa's bought a car. So thanks to Dunstan dealers, and it's all because of you. So thanks for nothing, Rudolph. We'll end up reindeer stew. Come on! Rudolph, where are you? We need you right away. Rudolph, where are you? Where have you been all day? You think you're so important, you treat us all like slaves. Where are you when needed? We need you right away.
Sorry, I've done it again. To be fair, I'm an hour in and I've only done it twice now. I forgot to turn my mic on. I'm back in, and it's just as well. Dave Williams was just in the right in the corner of my screen. I seen this hand go up and I thought, oh, I've done it again. So thanks for that, Dave. That was an absolute treat from City of Truro Male Choir. Rudolph, where are you? And it just kind of goes to show that choral singing, especially in a male voice choir, doesn't always have to be formal. It doesn't always have to be traditional. We can have a lot of kind of fun in music making whilst singing, a different variety of repertoire. And it's really lovely, actually, to be able to, for me as a fellow conductor, to be able to kind of enjoy this experience and hear different pieces of music and different styles of conducting as we're seeing in videos, because there's very little opportunity actually as conductors to kind of get together and conduct, and I'm just trying to pinpoint my colleague Stephen Laurie. There you are. Got you. So I'm just going to bring Stephen in on this. I was just wondering if we could just literally, and again, it's not on the schedule, and for those that, particularly from Lovney, that know me, schedules and programs and running orders and anything that requires an order and me, it just doesn't work. It's just not who I am. I just like to work off the cuff. But Stephen, I was wondering if we could just take a couple of minutes just to talk about Birmingham next year, all being well. So for those that maybe aren't aware, Stephen and I are two of four conductors from Cornwall that are going up to Birmingham Symphony Hall to have a bit of a do. Steve, do you want to tell the guys a little bit about Birmingham, what's in store, what we've got planned?
Yeah, well, I think moreover than the fact that there's 4 conductors is the fact that there's 300 or 400 singers. I think they're the main ones, and I'm hoping that before we started teaching the guys the songs, the 4 conductors already knew what they were doing. It's a matter of getting everyone else up to speed now, isn't it? So I'm not sure. I presume it will go ahead. Whether we have to tuck in some extra practices is a rumor I've heard, but I'm not involved with the actual organising committee. So, I mean, it's a lovely thing to do. I was privileged to conduct the choirs at the Albert Hall in 2013, and it's lovely going around working with people from different choirs and seeing what we can do to get the best out of them. But it is a long time since the guys have got together now to sing, so I'm hoping it won't be too long. There are several of them who are probably of an age where they may get the vaccine soon. You know, there's 2 or 3 there that might be over 60 in the choir, and you know they'll be there soon. But getting everyone together is the issue. But obviously we will do our utmost as conductors to get them ready for the concert whenever it happens, which should be the beginning of October now, isn't it?
Yeah, 3rd of October 2021 we're hoping for. Stephen, just tell me a little bit of how it felt being in the Albert Hall in front of all those boys, having a sing, doing what we love. I mean, what was that like as a conductor?
It might sound an odd thing to say, but I aren't too fast. I really love the working with the guys, going around and meeting the guys and working with them and getting them ready. But once you're there doing it, you're just there to get the best out of them. It's not about me, it's about them. I mean, obviously it was an honor to do it, but I was stood there on the stage knowing that there's one chord on the piano and they're going to start singing "Let There Be Light" and they got to be ready. So it's more about looking after everybody than what I'm doing. To be honest, it's not about me; it's about the guys singing. So yeah, it was a lovely thing to do, but it was lovely doing all the rehearsals around the different places and that side of it as well.
Yeah, it must be a wonderful experience, and I know a lot of the boys from Lovney are really looking forward to going up and having a sing for that on the 3rd of October 2021. All being well, we'll be able to take a couple hundred boys from Cornwall up to Birmingham Symphony Hall. You can buy tickets from Birmingham Symphony Hall themselves, or you can get in touch with the Federation here in Cornwall. And this takes us on to just talking about being together and, you know, coming together as a county and being able to showcase the singers that we have. It really is a remarkable thing. And during lockdown, it's been really difficult to come together and sing and rehearse and perform. And there's been quite an uptake in these virtual choir performances that we've been seeing online and on the social media. And Russell and the rest of the chaps from Truro have done incredibly well in generating actually a performance during lockdown, and it will not fail. I think to make you smile, and the sentiments echoed throughout this song actually are really poignant, and it is "We All Stand Together."
Sink or swim, one thing is certain.
Ah, I must be getting tired. But what another treat from Truro there. An absolute treat. And it's so lovely, again, just to hear what people are doing during lockdown and the fact that we're still able to facilitate and continue making music. And, you know, what a wealth of gems you've got there in Truro. We heard from Des earlier, and I'm just going to bring back Will. We were talking earlier about kind of having other things to add, extra skill sets that we can offer as choristers or from a social perspective. But I'm going to bring Will back in because Will, you quite enjoy treading the boards, don't you?
A little bit, yeah, from time to time.
From time to time. So I'm going to say no more. I'm just going to hand straight over to you, if that's okay.
That's no problem. I'm not prepared for this. Let's try it. This is, a few of you will know it, I'm sure. It's called A Country Christmas. Don't talk to me about relatives. I shall never forget last Christmas, never as long as I live. We asked Granny to stay. I can't stand the sight of her mother, but she wasn't going to take no notice of me. So she wrote and asked Granny if she'd like to come for Christmas, and Granny said her would. So I went up to the village on Christmas Eve and met Granny off the bus with the pony and trap, and Mother put her to bed with a nice hot cup of cocoa. Then Mother said, I think I'll go to bed myself now, because Christmas is a busy old time. She got halfway up the stairs and realized she hadn't iced the cake. She'd make him like you should, had him in a tin for about 6 weeks, but hadn't had time to ice him. She said, I can't have Granny sitting up till Christmas tea and having no icing on the cake. So, although she was tired, she got a basin, made a bit of icing, and put it on top of the old cake. Then she says to me, oh, what a pity. I haven't got nothing to put on him. Well, that's when I had my first good idea, because I've got a push bike. I went out to the shed and came back with a little backy tin where I kept a few ball bearings. Then she washed them off and polished them up and put them round the edge of the cake. And though I say to myself the old cake didn't look bad, then I had my second idea. I went behind the picture and broke off a bit of holly and stuck it in the middle. And though I say it myself, the cake looked handsome. She went to bed happy that night. The turkey was in the dairy, all stuffed. Granny was tucked up in bed asleep, and the cake was all iced. Oh, we went to bed and slept well, we did. Well, us got us up in the morning and did our work. Went to church and had our dinner and listened to the Queen. I went out to milk the cows, and it was tea time. I know you should start with a bit of bread and butter, but Granny asked for a bit of cake. Mother said, give her a nice big bit, there's plenty there. So I did. I cut her a nice big bit of cake, and her sat down and ate it and enjoyed it. Then darn me if she didn't ask for another bit. Mother said, oh, go on, give another bit, plenty there. So I did. I cut her another big bit of cake, but forgot to tell her about the balls. But it didn't seem to make no difference, because her eats without her teeth in, and her wobbled it about and got it down all right. Well, then us went into the front room. We do it every year, don't we? Go into the front room and sit down beside the fire and have a little glass of what you fancy, whether it is sherry or whether it is whiskey or whether it is a little drop of homemade wine or a glass of cider. Then you have a fig, then you'll have a date, then you'll have a nut or two, then perhaps another drop of sherry. Then you'll have an orange, and there's that old box of Turkish delights. 'Tis eaten all the time, isn't it? Well, that's when disaster struck. Granny got up, bent over to poke the fire, broke wind and shot the cat. And that's the end.
Oh my days. For a moment, I wondered where you were going. Will, thank you. Thank you for that. I just need a moment to compose my thoughts. That is absolutely fantastic, and it just goes to show that, you know, we have so much more to offer from within our choirs, other than just the fantastic voices that we are fielding on a regular basis. Will, thank you so much for that. Just before we go into our last choir, I just want to take a second to talk about. Actually, I'm not going to talk about it. I'm just going to show you this short little clip, and then I'm going to bring in Mr. John Lark to have a bit of a chat. There we go. I'm going to say nothing on that. John, tell us who you are, why this is important to you, and why this is important to Cornwall.
Okay, hi everyone. A lot of you will know me. I'm John Lark. I'm actually chairman of City of Truro, and then in addition to that, I'm also vice chairman of Cornwall International Male Choral Festival, and which the little video just short basically says what it's all about. One of the other things that happens, and really happens very importantly, is we have the support of the 30 male voice choirs in Cornwall in running that festival. And Mousel and Lovney, you've been with us since we started, and we're eternally grateful for it. Just looking ahead, we were due to run the festival again next year, and needless to say, with COVID, we've sensibly postponed it, shunted it forward to 2022. But the good news is Gareth Churcher, our new festival director, who's now in charge and ran it so well in 2019, is planning to do a virtual festival next year around that weekend on the 1st of May. So I know he's in contact with all the choirs, and as we get into the new year, he'll be setting out the details of what we'll be aiming to do on that weekend, which will be a gathering, hopefully, just like we're doing today. And hopefully you will all be participating as well.
Thank you. Thanks for that, John. It is a really, really vital thing for the county, actually, being able to showcase. And we get some of the most remarkable choirs from all over the globe. I was fortunate enough to do my first one last year with Lovney, and very much looking forward to what's around the corner. And before we go into hearing from some representatives from Lovney, we're going to hear their first piece, which was recorded during a tour around Belgium last year, and this was one of the highlights of that tour for us as a choir, for me as an MD, but for the boys, it was an incredibly emotional time for us, and really proud to have been in part of that. And I'll say no more actually, and just allow you to listen. Too many buttons to press. I'm trying. Don't worry, John. I'm here. I'm just slightly slower than the average bear. All right. So that was Mansions of the Lord by Lovney Male Voice Choir, and as always, thrilled to be joined with my boss, Mr. John Eade. Evening, John.
Evening, Marcus. How are you?
I'm all right.
That'll be the bloody day that you have a boss. That's for sure.
Yeah, but fair one. John, tell us all things Lovney.
All things Lovney. Well, first and foremost, Lovney Male Voice Choir is a wonderful, wonderful choir with some fabulous people. Russell was mentioning how people go away from Cornwall and come back and sing. I'm certainly one of them. I've only been with the choir 11 years, but it's probably the best thing I've ever done. I sang in St. Petrock's choir in Bodmin as a kid. I left Cornwall when I was 29 and didn't come back until 10 years ago. So to come back and do this, it is amazing. The people are amazing. The setup is fantastic. And although we've had a terrible, terrible year, and nobody can ever say anything else than that, we've tried to do things during the year after the first lockdown. We're very lucky. In fact, one of our founder members, because Lovney Male Voice Choir is 50 years old next year, is a guy that a lot of you will know called Colin Arthur. We're very lucky that he's got a farm in the middle of nowhere. And we ended up for, I must have been 6-7 weeks singing outdoors in his barn on the farm. And that started the wheels turning and we started going again. So big thanks to Colin. But also the other very important thing we've got some people that know what they're doing in so many different fields. And one of them, who's not with us tonight because he's moving home, what a poor excuse that is a guy called Brian Crowell, who was I think he was a station commander in the fire service. And he said, look, John, we can only do this if we get COVID secure. And the work he put in to make this happen has been absolutely fantastic. And then on only last Saturday, we managed to give a concert, an outdoor concert where we were all socially distanced, but just being able to put the uniform on and get out in front of I'm not going to say it was a huge audience, but it was a very, very good audience, and they behaved themselves as well. And it makes it all so worthwhile. We've got no problems in Lovney, but I think I've got to just speak a minute to Russell in Truro, because he's caused me a lot of trouble over the last few weeks. I thought the Lion Sleeps Tonight was absolutely fantastic. If I knew you did it down at Boscowan Park, I'd have come down and had a laugh, because I don't live far from there. But the problem that caused me, Russell, is I've got twin grandsons of a relatively young age. And they said to me, Grandad, if you dress up like those guys, we'll come and watch every concert. But all I can say, it'll never happen, boys. And one other problem, which Dave Williams, who has been speaking tonight from Mosul, has given us. As I said, I'm honoured to be the chairman of Lovney, but I took over from a guy that decided he needed a rest. And his big problem is that he's called Dave Williams. Now, he rang me after he saw you conducting tonight, Dave, and said, could I put a word in with Marcus to see if there was any chance that I could now be deputy musical director of Lovney. So there's a challenge for you, Marcus. And tonight is fantastic. It's really good to see all the boys. All that I'm really hoping for is that next year, we get out again as soon as we can, as soon as it's safe, and really, really looking forward with a load of the guys from Lovney to going up to Birmingham. So I don't think I've got much more to say, Marcus, which is unusual for me, but
it absolutely is. It absolutely is, John. Are you feeling all right, boy?
I'm pretty good.
John, thanks for jumping in. Thank you for those lovely words. Obviously, Lovney will always be very, very dear to my heart as my first ever male voice choir. And one of the first Christmas pieces that I came across with Lovney, I had never heard before, having been a conductor for the best part of kind of 12 years now. I found it really surprising that I hadn't come across this piece before, because it gets to Christmas and we tend to kind of hear the same stuff over and over again. But when I took Lovney on, I heard this for the very first time and just instantly fell in love with it. And it's a Maori carol, Te Hari Nui.
There came
So Maori, him, Te, Harry, Nui, which I absolutely love. I think it's kind of one of my favourite male voice. Very carol pieces. Very simple, but incredibly effective. And I just love that kind of the melodic nature in that. Now, before we go on to our last couple of items, I'm just going to come round and start picking on random people. Not picking on, selecting, sorry. Selecting random people just to give you a little bit of a shake up, wake up. And I'm going to, let's have a look at Glyn. Hello, mate. Can you unmute? Oh,
I'd like to say my microphone's broken, but there you go.
That's okay. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right.
Very quickly. I just want to know which choir you belong to and how long you've been a member.
I'm from City of Truro, and I guess it's about 12 years now.
Wow, congratulations.
Once I couldn't run around the football field, I had to find something to do, didn't I?
Absolutely. Glyn, thank you for that. Who am I coming to next? Justin, jump in on this. Hello, mate.
Hello, Marcus. All right.
Very well. Which choir do you belong to, and how long have you been a member?
Well, I belong to Mousehole, and I joined at Mousehole when I moved back to Cornwall in 1986. I was with them for 18 years. Then I had some health problems and some work stresses. So I joined actually the City of Truro for 10 years. Then I retired 6 years ago and went back to Mousehole. So I've been singing now really on and off for 32 years.
Wow, congratulations. That's a really, really good stint. Chris. I had to bring you in tonight and showcase you at some point because your attire this evening, sir, is just remarkable.
I wonder which Chris you're referring to.
That would be absolutely you, Mr. Dennis. So, which choir do you belong to, and how long have you been there for?
Truro, and I've been in the choir for almost exactly 3 years because I went along to a sing-song at the pub, The Rising Sun, for our Christmas sing-song. Sadly, we won't be doing this year. And I was persuaded after a few pints to join by my friend Nigel Vaughan.
Tends to be the way, doesn't it?
But I've enjoyed it all ever since. It's been great. Getting too old for playing cricket and other sports that I play. So yeah, it's been great, and I'm part of the mass choir. I've been going to your practices at Truro School, and
really enjoying those.
Down at Penzance as well. I've been to those ones.
Wonderful.
I've forgotten it all again now.
Yeah, I know. As Stephen was saying earlier, we're going to have a bit of work to do just to get everyone.
I think we have done a good year, haven't we? So we should be all right.
I'm sure.
Back to us quite quickly, I hope.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll be absolutely fantastic. Chris, thank you so much for jumping in. And lastly, Mr. Colin Arthur. That's right, I've done it for you.
You've done it for me. That's
no.
Technical. Yeah. Okay.
Always a step ahead. So, which choir do you belong to, if it's not completely obvious already, and how long have you been there for?
Yeah. Well, I've Lovney, of course. I've been there. I was going to say all my life. It seems like all my life. So I was 1971 when they started, so I am a founder member of Lovney back all those years ago. So I should be 50 years next year singing with Lovney. So I was just totting up while I've been listening to what's going on. I think we've had 12 MDs in Lovney, 13 if you include Nick Hart coming back for a very short spell. A second time, that is. So it's been a long old time, and we've we've had some ups and downs, but tremendous singing experience right from the word go back in 1971. Alan Pascoe, of course, was the founder of Lovney, and we're very lucky to have Glyn Pascoe, his son, singing with Lovney now. He travels all the way down from, well, I don't know how many miles it is now, from way up in Somerset, or in Somerset, but you know what I mean. It's Western-super-Mare. I'm trying to think of the name. So yeah, we're it's been a long time and a wonderful experience. Obviously, I am deputy MD with to Lovney now at the moment, and thoroughly enjoyed that experience as well. I was MD for a very short time, which was a great honour. So that was a bit long-winded. What was the question again?
Asked and answered, I think, Mr. Arthur. But 50 years. I mean, I'm just really privileged to be able to kind of celebrate that with you next year as current director of music. Not only because 50 years of service is a fantastic milestone, but also that you are the last founder member, the last remaining founder member. So I think to be able to kind of have that during my tenure is really exciting. So I'm looking forward to celebrating that, and well done for that. Thank you, Colin. And before we go on to our last piece, which I'm really hoping that we can all kind of get involved with and have a jolly good sing, I'm just going to bring in our last guest of the evening, if I can find him amongst the masses. Come on, where's he gone? No, not that one. That could have been awkward. Just about to catch someone picking their nose and put them on the main screen. No one needs that in their life right now. Roger James, where have you gone? I'm going to have to go the old school. Where are you, Rog? Are you still with us? Is he still in the house? There you are. Found you. Found you. There you are. Hit that unmute button, buddy. There we go.
Right. Yeah,
So, really, really pleased to have Roger with us. He's affectionately known or referred to in Lovney as the Bard of Lovney. And I'm going to say no more because this man does it far better than I do. Mr. James, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Marcus. I'm sure I don't really deserve the comments that you made then, but we try and do our best. I'm going to read a poem, not recite it all like our previous one. A poem that was written by David Prowse, a farmer's son from Lamorna in the real far west of Cornwall. And this one is called A Chain of Pebblestone. With gold and myrrh and frankincense, the wise men came to call, and kneeled with regal reverence towards the manger stall. Beyond the gleam of lantern light, beside his father's knee, there stood a wide-eyed shepherd boy who craned his head to see. If he were rich, he too would give and kneel beside the rest. But all he had were shepherd's robes and a chain upon his chest. A simple chain of pebblestone he'd fastened by the brook to while away those quiet hours which boredom overtook. At once the impulse seized his heart. He knew what he must do, and ere a hand could intervene, he silently withdrew. And only as he neared the light did terror take his tongue, until a bearded figure smiled and beckoned him to come. He fetched the chain from round his neck. It's all I have, he said, as Joseph took the trembling hand and gently stroked his head. My child, he said, the Lord above has spoken thus to me. You had so little, gave so much, and blessed you shall be. For when all else has come and gone, like leaves upon the hill, the love within these simple stones shall grace our Saviour still. The years would pass and shepherd boys mature and grow to men. And then one day in Nazareth, the shepherd kneeled again. A blue-eyed youth was holding a court across the market square and offering eternal life for all the world to share. And something in the words he spoke transcended flesh and bone, as at his neck the sunlight danced on a chain of pebble stone. Thank you.
That's a bit of an anticlimax, wasn't it? There you go. I can see Russell just frantically going like this in the top corner of my tiny little screen. Thank you for the heads up. Roger, that was absolutely wonderful. Thank you. It's always such a pleasure to hear you recite and speak, and you do it with such finesse, mostly. Some of the other David Prowses will leave you in stitches, and I really hope that we can come together maybe in the spring next year and share some more music making, depending on where we are in the world. Ladies, gents that are in this morning, all of you actually, it's been an absolute pleasure being able to share tonight with you. Before we go into our last number, just give everybody watching a quick wave goodbye. It'll save a bit of time later on. And I'm going to try something very brave. It could go horribly wrong, but I'm gonna try. Let's just try and unmute everybody. And let's just give a quick Merry Christmas to everybody. Ready? Go.
Merry Christmas!
And a Happy New Year.
So there you are. So every MD in the room tonight is now going, and that's why we keep them on mute for the duration. And it's absolutely true. But it's been a pleasure sharing tonight with you. I'm just going to quickly bring in my colleagues. There's Steve. Russell is there. And there we are. It's been great. Boys, any last words from you, pair, before we go into our last number?
I'll just say thank you, Marcus, for organising it and doing all the technical stuff and getting it right nearly all the time. Well done, fantastic. And from all the guys at Mousehole, obviously best wishes for Christmas and the New Year to Lovney and to Truro, but to everyone who's watching, and we hope that we'll be back in front of audiences very soon. But God bless everybody.
Yeah.
And I'm exactly the same as Steve there. Thanks, Marcus. It was lovely to see so many of the boys together on one screen. It is very interesting, the times that we're in at the moment. If it hadn't been for what's been going on, there's no way that we would have got together like this. It wouldn't have happened. So I think we've always got to try and find the positives in everything. Happy New Year.
Stephen, thank you so much for jumping in tonight. Thank you for your musical contributions as well, because it's it's down to the work of you boys working hard during this pretty tough time actually that's kept us all going. So thank you as well for spurring the rest of us on. So it's a good night from me, and on behalf of Lovney, just extend that Merry Christmas to Truro and Mousehole and the other choirs across the county, and we hope you stay safe and stay well, and hopefully you'll all be able to join us in our last piece, which will be done to the tune of Lingham, and it really is out of the archives of Lovney Male Voice Choir. Stay safe, stay well, and good night.
One shepherd's
That's right. We're no longer live. We don't need to hear Lingham again. You can now breathe out. You can let it all hang out. You can fart. You can pick your nose. You can do whatever you like. Gents, I just want to say a massive thanks for jumping in tonight. It's been really lovely having so many of you in, being able to share this, and just coming together. It's been really, really nice. We've had already over 700 views on social media. 700 people have viewed this evening, which has been really fantastic. Which means that we've been able to share a little bit of Christmas music making with some people, and it'd be really interesting to know where they're from. But I'm sure we will never ever know that. But I've thoroughly enjoyed myself. A massive thanks to Russell and Stephen for getting all the content together at very short notice over to make tonight as successful as it was. And who knows, it might be the start of something new for choirs in Cornwall. I will open the breakout rooms for anyone that wants to go back in and have a chat and a catch up in a less hectic environment, but that is there. Feel free to pop in, pop out. Graham and
Hello. Rog, yeah, I didn't see you before.
Hi, Marcus.
Sorry, gents. I didn't mean that to happen so abruptly. I just pressed the button and then everyone just disappeared. But I will say good night. I'm going to leave all the rooms open for people to chat and catch up for as long as they want or as long as they need. But thanks for jumping in. It's been an absolute ball. If I don't see you before, Merry Christmas, one and all, and have a great New Year.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Yeah, very good.
Cheers, Marcus.
Just
Well done, and well done for looking so brilliant as well. I thought we looked completely off the wall.
You all look
Hello,
fabulous.
Marcus, down
You
there.
look fantastic.
Look at them.
I didn't expect that to happen so abruptly. I pressed the button for the breakout rooms and everyone just disappeared. But I just wanted
Thanks,
to
Marcus.
and say thank you, well done for jumping in. It's been lovely to be able to offer something, and it's been really nice actually to come together as three different choirs from across, the pretty much the length of the county, share music and just get it out there to the community that so desperately need it. Russell, thanks again for your input and your support on this thoroughly enjoyable evening. I'm going to leave these breakout rooms open for as long as people want to carry on chatting and catching up, and I'll check in later on and just make sure that there's no stragglers left before I close the meeting. But if I don't see you beforehand, have a merry Christmas. I really do hope you have a good one, and I look forward to seeing you all hopefully in the near future. Stay safe, stay well. Good night all.
Thank you, Marcus. Good night.
Before we all go, can I just say a big thanks to John Lark because
to turn up there is incredible, really.
Yeah.
But obviously, a lot of it was thanks to Nick, of course, to bring the choir on like we did. But without the instigation of Alan Pascoe and the few MDs before that, we had Reg Bennett before Nick, so they kept the choir going, and it went well. It was brilliant.
Strength, the strength.
We won the corner. Sorry, go on.
No, carry on, Cobb.
I was going to say we won the Cornwall Championships a few times when they had them going then, back in the day.
Good.
Beating the other choirs in Cornwall, certainly, which was a feather in a cap.
But, fantastic!
But it was a great to be part of that. But we've moved on, and we've still got a good choir. Just a bit different. That's all.
And we got
and this whole Zoom thing may actually help the choir to grow in other ways as well. I think it's an opportunity, isn't it?
Yeah, we didn't have Zoom then, but it actually the Zoom has helped a lot, and I think that, in some ways we've been. It's the best of a bad job. In other ways, it's taught us all to make use of the technology we've got these days, and we're all that bit better, at using it. I think so. That's
definitely.
Well, I think what Kathy meant, Cole, as well, is that hopefully we might be able to recruit now that this has gone out to so many people. That fingers crossed, we might be able to recruit out of this.
Yeah.
Well, certainly. Yeah.
just like to say a big thank you, Marcus.
Brilliant.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Hey.
Very enjoyable. I think anybody who's watching that would have enjoyed it.
Absolutely.
No, it's really it's great. I literally just popped in to just say a quick hello and goodbye to Kathy, and just wish you a speedy recovery.
Thank you, Marcus.
And just let you know that you are in our thoughts and prayers.
Just keep singing. That inspires me so much.
That's the plan. It's good for the soul. It really is. Gents, I just want to say a massive thank you for jumping in tonight. It was great to see so many of you in. Massive well done to Rog as well. You absolutely nailed that. Brilliant.
Yeah, brilliant, Rog. Yeah.
I'm just going to stop